Welcome to the Cultivation Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Hamill, and I am hyped about this episode. Probably one of my favorite topics and tools and resources that I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. We are talking about habits and how habits determine our destiny and shape our lives and decide who we become. So, this episode, all about habits. Let's get into it. I have so many notes across my desk. It looks a little messy, and maybe it is, but I've got where I'm going. I've got quotes. I've got all kinds of things here that I want to share with you today. And habits are such a key part of who we are as a person. And it's really important that we understand that habits are what shape our identity. Think about how much is known about who we are based off of our habits. Whether good or bad, we say, hey, he or she is a smoker, right? And so, boom, your identity is mentioned based off of your habits. That person is funny. You have a habit of cracking jokes, doing things, right? That's your habit. Boom, it just determines your identity. That person's an athlete. Let me just tell you this. Your habits shape your identity, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a junk food junkie, whether you're a binge-watching TV show person, a video game player, right? Doesn't matter. Your habits shape and determine your identity, and so that is why they're so powerful in our lives. Now, the cultivation journey, the cultivation podcast, is all about taking hold of our habits in a powerful way so that rather than our habits determining our destiny, we determine our habits, right? That's the way it works, is that if I know habits have that much power, that much control, that much influence into my life, then I know I've got to really own my habits. And I talked a little bit about this in season 1, but I wanted to really unpack some more here in season 2 and dig down a little bit deeper. And that's what cultivating is digging below the surface of what that looks like. Here's the thing. There is a difference, I've used this illustration before, between playing basketball and being a basketball player, right? And what's the difference? The habit of practice, the habit of discipline, the habit of conditioning, right? There's a difference between playing football or throwing a football, playing catch, than being a football player, than being a baseball player. And you can fill in the blanks all you want. One time I went to Hawaii with my wife, and we rented some scooters because I have a motorcycle license, and so we rented some scooters. It's a really funny story that for the people that were there laughed because I popped up on a curb and was riding this scooter up a fence. It's hilarious. And I would say for your own safety, never take a trip with Tom Hamill because you never know what's going to happen. But because I rode a scooter doesn't mean I'm a motorcycle rider. I'm not a biker guy, right? And that's not to knock on biker guys. I'm just saying that because I rode a scooter one time doesn't mean I'm a biker. And you may look at me and go, yeah, he is not a biker. And if you're listening on audio, I can just tell you right now that I am wearing a sweater from H&M that very much says I am not a biker. So if you're just listening to the audio version of that, now you've got a mental picture of that, right? So our habits determine our destiny. So here's the thing. I've got some quotes. There's an amazing book. I'm going to show it to you for those that are watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. But this book by James Clear, Atomic Habits by James Clear, you can find the link on our website. You definitely... if there was ever a book I wanted to recommend, this book is just amazing. This is one quote that he said, and I've got more quotes than I got time to share with you. But the cost of your good habits is right now, right? So what does that cost? The cost of your good habits are putting money into a savings account. The cost of your good habits is getting up to go to the gym. The cost of your good habits is prepping that healthy meal. The cost of your good habits are calling yourself out on things you're trying to break yourself from, right? But the cost of your bad habits is down the road. The results, the payback, the reward, however you want to look at that, good or bad. The cost of your bad habits is down the road and more severe. So if I'm eating a bowl of ice cream every day, that's going to cost me later and be more severe or more of an impact on my health than if I would choose to not eat that bowl of ice cream and eat something healthy, which is a disappointment right now because I happen to like ice cream. And if you don't like ice cream, you're a weirdo, because ice cream is amazing. My preferred flavor of ice cream is mint chocolate chip because that's what heaven will be made out of. But nonetheless, uh, the cost of my good habits are I'm choosing to not have that ice cream right now. And because of that, I'm going to get that reward. I'm going to have that healthier body, and I don't mean that from a physique kind of standpoint. I just mean the optimal operation of the machinery of our body. If you didn't know, our bodies are a machine. Um, they are. The cost of your good habits is now, and the cost of your bad habits are down the road and more severe. So put in the work to do the bad habits. And there's so many quotes here. He goes on to say this: it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. When it comes to the habits, putting those habits in place. And right now, I just want you to think about this for a second. Who's the person that you want to become? What do you want your identity to be known as? Is it an author? Is it to have financial success or stability? Is it to be someone that's trustworthy and can be counted on with confidence, or to be somebody's confidant with their secrets, with their dreams, that sort of thing? What is it that you want your identity to be known as? One of the things that I'm not shy about, I want to be a generous person, and I don't just mean financially. I mean, I want to be generous with my time. I want to be generous with my talents, and I want to invest into others, which means I first have to build the habit of investing in myself. I started those journeys, the habit loop, the habit routine, the atomic habits, as James Clear titles them. Also, he's got an amazing blog that you can subscribe to, that he sends out to you every week. It's totally worth filling up your inbox with his stuff. But where I started to invest in myself, two key areas first, and I'm doing others now that I've kind of feel like those have become habits. One was in my health, what I'm eating, and what my mindset is into how I'm fueling my body. And I found a coach and found a system to get a healthy habit into my life when it comes to taking care of myself. So that was one area. The second area was my reading habit. And it started off with a small goal. Could I read one book a month? Could I read one book a month? And could I just start with that habit? And I got to tell you, sometimes I was successful, sometimes I was not successful, but I learned how to celebrate the progress along the way, which is one of James's quote, right? When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy, right? The process of getting a healthy habit physically, the process of having the habit of reading, really, I started investing in myself so that I would have something to be generous from. So I'm learning these skills, I'm investing in myself, I'm building these things into my life so that I have the habits that I can give from, that I can be generous from, right? It's so super important. So here's the thing: looking for small wins instead of the mountaintop experience. That's what habits are all about. You've heard me talk about this in previous episodes, that I climbed to the top of Yosemite, Half Dome. I've done actually a lot of adventurous things. When I start mapping it out, here's just to name a couple of them. This is not to be bragging. It's just to let you know I've kind of uh, started working on this habit of who I am. I hiked an active volcano, which was ridiculous because I got like really close to this lava flow. It's like 2,000 degrees, trying to melt your face off. And I put a stick in there that immediately caught fire. It was epic. It was crazy. It was super cool. I hiked across the top of, I actually took my whole family. I hiked across the top of a moving glacier, which I guess they're all moving, but we felt it moving, which added a whole new level. We all had this vision of, if you've seen the old school late 70s, early 80s Superman movies. I know I might be dating myself there. I'm 40, so if that's something I need to apologize about, you're probably not going to get that. But where the earth opens up and swallows up Lois Lane into the crack with the earthquake there, and Superman has to fly backwards to reverse time. It's a cool movie. You should check it out. I think that's Superman 2. But we got this vision that this glacier is going to crack open and swallow us up because we felt it moving under our feet. I jumped out of an airplane and went skydiving, which was ridiculous, and I will never do that again. If you've never done it, you should do it at least once, but my experience was I'm never going to do it again. I did a team relay race, 200 miles with Team World Vision. We raised a ton of money for clean drinking water in the Sudan. I'm actually going to do that again this year. Because it was so much fun. Not really, but I've just got this habit of taking these adventures, and they're painful and you want to quit. But what I've learned to get me through all of these adventures is I'm looking for the small wins along the way. Hey, you just crossed mile 1. Woo, that's awesome. You just crossed mile 2. You just hiked to a new height, new altitude. You just did this new thing. Looking for those small wins gets you to that mountaintop experience so that you can live out those atomic habits. Another quote from James Clear, and then I'm going to wrap this up because I just think habits are so important in our lives and we need to own them, take control of them, and really be intentional about our habits. This is what he says. Success is the product of daily habits, not a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. I'm going to say that again because it's so powerful. I know that you and I have decided to take the cultivation journey so that we could transform ourselves into the person that we're longing to become, so that we could awaken to that destiny and that purpose and that person that we want to be, so that we could be useful and valuable to other people, to our friends, to our family, to the world that is waiting for us to come alive in our purpose, right? And we want to do that. But success is the product of daily habits, the daily disciplines. We got to cultivate those daily habits, those daily disciplines. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be a once-in-a-lifetime transformation, a once-in-a-lifetime encounter, a once-in-a-lifetime change. Nope. It's going to happen when we decide, when we cultivate those daily habits. That's when success comes. I'm going to throw in one more quote and then we're going to wrap, right? Habits often appear to make no difference until you cross that critical threshing point and unlock a new level of importance. Habits seem mundane. They seem insignificant. They seem not important at the time until you reach critical mass and it's a tipping point. I want you to start cultivating the habits necessary to become the person you're longing, desiring, and are destined to become. Put the habits into place right now. Once again, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'd love to hear what your ideas or habits are that you're putting into your life. Maybe there's some that you're breaking if you want to be that transparent. Maybe there's some that you need to implement and you just want that next level of accountability by going public with it. Follow us on social media. That's where you can post those things. You can do it in the links below. If you're watching on YouTube, we read those, we respond to those. And hey, we're trying to multiply our audience, our listening audience, our viewing audience. So would you mind sharing us, giving us a shout out, rating us on whatever platform you're listening? We'd love those 5 stars reviews. It's amazing. It's super important. It helps build our audience, that sort of thing. Check out our website, ourcultivatedlives.com. That's where you can see all of our show notes. That's where you can find these books on our book resource page. There's the Amazon links there for you if you buy them that way. And then again, if you find us valuable, there is a donate, a support button that you can do that if you'd like to. It helps provide all these tools that we're doing for you to live the cultivated journey. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This has been the Cultivation Podcast with Tom Hamill. Thanks for checking us out today on the Cultivation Podcast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the incredible content that's coming your way. Also, in the comment thread below, be sure to put your comments, your feedback, your story. We want to hear that. We want to hear from you. We read those. We respond to those. We journey together in this cultivated life.